Hey Waffle Gang, I do hope you're well. My name is Mark and today we're checking out some more Reddit stories. Of course we are. And if you do love a Reddit story, why not consider hitting the like, subscribe, maybe that notification bell too. It all really does help out the channel and it'll be super cheeky of you. And let's crack on with today's first story. Much love, guys. Now today's first story comes from Sunshine and Serenity. And it says, am I the arsehole here for not letting my dad walk me down the aisle after he cheated on my mum? I'm getting married in a few months. Planning has been mostly smooth, except for one really emotional decision I made. I told my dad he won't be walking me down the aisle. And now it feels like half the family thinks I've declared war. Some context. My parents were married for over 25 years. When I was 22, my dad cheated on my mum with a woman from his office, someone only a few years older than me. He didn't confess. My mum found out after seeing some sketchy messages on his iPad they shared. Everything blew up. Divorce, a messy fallout. My mum was devastated. She'd been a stay-at-home mum most of their marriage and had to start over in her 50s. I was crushed. My dad had always been my hero growing up. The classic hard-working, dependable, dad joke kind of guy. But after what he did, I saw a whole new side of him. He tried to justify it by saying the marriage had been emotionally over for years and that he just wanted to be happy. That hurt more than the cheating. He seemed so detached from the pain he caused. Even after the divorce, he moved on quickly, started a new life with his girlfriend and acted like everything was normal. Meanwhile, I watched my mum spiral for years, trying to rebuild. I was there for her. She leaned on me a lot, and now years later, she's stronger, happy even, but that time left a permanent mark. So when I started planning my wedding, I knew immediately I didn't want my dad walking me down the aisle. It felt wrong. That role in my mind should be held by someone who protected our family, not someone who blew it up. I love my dad, but I haven't fully forgiven him. I'm polite when we see each other, and I included him in the wedding as a guest, but I asked my older brother to walk me instead. He was my rock through all of it. When I told my dad, he was shocked. He said he was hurt, that it was always his dream to give me away, that I was punishing him for something in the past. He said he's still my father, and nothing changes that. Now my stepmom, the woman he cheated with, is furious. She told me I'm being cruel and disrespectful and trying to rewrite history. A few cousins have said I should let it go, that it was years ago and he's still my dad. Even my grandma said she was disappointed in me. But my mum, she cried when I told her about my decision. Not because she was happy he's excluded, but because she felt seen. She told me she didn't expect anything, but knowing I remembered what she went through meant everything. So here I am, wondering if I'm holding a grudge or if I'm just setting a boundary. I don't want to make my wedding about old wounds, but I also can't pretend those wounds don't exist. Am I the arsehole here? Absolutely not the arsehole at all, and you're absolutely right to feel this way when he turned your family upside down. Your dad seems to have it backwards. He's acting like this sort of automatically grants him the right to this moment. But honestly, he forfeited it when he did what he did. And for anyone calling you out and saying it's in the past is completely missing the point. These actions have consequences and it's quite as simple as that. And I think it's quite nice that you're honoring your brother when he stepped up, when your dad did what he did. For a real tough moment for your family, he stepped in. And the stepmom in this, the cheeky bastard coming in, she should be the last person who's talking about family dynamics that she helped destroy. But the top commenter says your stepmom has the nerves to call you cruel. Ignore that woman and do what brings you peace. Your father is an arsehole. Totally not the arsehole. Opie responds saying, yeah, seeing how my mother struggled all these years makes me want to slap her really hard that her soul leaves her body. Another commenter says, I'm going to hell for this, but not the arsehole. You're really within your right to make that choice and it's not cruel. It's about setting boundaries for your own peace of mind. You should focus on what feels right for you and maybe have a heartfelt conversation with your dad to explain why it matters to you without reopening old wounds. OP says, not just mine, but for the peace of mind of my mother. Another commenter says, why does the affair partner think she gets an opinion? She should be shutting up and keeping her head down around the family. And the last commenter says, just ask him, why would you have someone who doesn't respect the sanctity of marriage to give you away? And that he should be happy you're even inviting him and his wife to your wedding, since they both don't respect or honor weddings and think of it as a joke. But OP did come in with their update and says, hi again. Honestly didn't expect this post to get much attention, but I've read through the responses. Thank you to everyone who shared their thoughts, and I wanted to give a quick update. You should see the original post on my profile. The wedding is still about a few months away, and yeah, things have escalated. After I told my dad that I didn't want him to walk me down the aisle, he acted calm at first. He said he was hurt but respected my decision. That lasted about a day. Then he started texting me passive aggressively. Stuff like, hope you enjoy your big day with people who didn't raise you, and guess your mum's still feeding you her version of things. I didn't respond. He called me selfish and said I was punishing him for something that had nothing to do with our relationship. I told him it had everything to do with how I saw trust and family, and that this moment was about me feeling safe and supported, not about his image or closure. The real kicker came when my aunt, his sister, messaged me basically guilt-tripping me to let him have this one moment. She said I was going to humiliate him in front of everyone. That word humiliate really stuck with me, because that's how this is being framed now. Not as me setting a boundary, but as me trying to publicly shame him. And it's not true. I didn't post anything about it. I didn't tell anyone but immediate family. It was him who told the extended family and started spinning it into a pity party. My mom has stayed out of it, which I appreciate. She just keeps telling me to do what feels right and not to let drama steal this moment. At this point, I'm honestly considering asking him not to come at all. Not out of spite, just because I don't know if I can handle the emotional weight of having him there. Especially if he's going to sulk or make it about himself. I hate that this is overshadowing everything. I was so excited about the wedding, and now I feel like I'm managing emotional landmines every day. I still don't feel bad for not letting him walk me down the aisle. I just wish it didn't have to turn into this whole mess. Anyway, that's where things stand for now. I'll post a final update after the wedding, assuming I survive the next 2 weeks of family politics. Thanks again to everyone who helped me think this through. Commenter said to OP after this, not the arsehole, your father is being ridiculous. It's your wedding, and your dog can give you away if you want. Don't let him, your step whore, or your aunt bully you. Uninvite them all if you wish. Quick question, if the wedding is months away, why only 2 weeks of family politics? OP says there is a family gathering to happen in 2 weeks. I want to face them all. Commenter says your father disrespected your mother by cheating on her after long years of marriage. Ask him if it was worth it. You're totally not the arsehole. I am again saying this. Don't feel guilty. Hope you have a happy marriage. OP replies saying thank you. I just want to clear my name. I feel like they're gaslighting me. Another commenter says not the arsehole. Just tell them that he's shown that he doesn't respect wedding vows, so why should he expect to have such an important part in your wedding? And tell that to anyone else who says something about it. And the last commenter says not the arsehole. I will tell him that if he doesn't stop publicly defaming you, he will earn his spot at the wedding on his couch at home. I would say this behavior is exactly why I made the decision in the first place. Gee bloody whiz, your dad is really showing his whole ass in this situation, isn't he? The passive aggressive texts that are basically proving your point here, with a little side order of manipulation that you're humiliating him. After he's the one that seems to be running his mouth to extended family and causing this drama to begin with. And the aunt can shut up as well. I mean, let him have this moment like he deserves it. Meanwhile, he's actively showing you, right now, exactly why you made the right call. If he truly respected your decision and regretted his past, he would be saying to you, absolutely, I'll be there to support you no matter what. And I would seriously be considering like you know, if he's worried about being humiliated, don't come. Your wedding is about you and your future, not managing your dad's feelings about shit he created a long time ago. But now I'm going to turn this one to you guys. What do you guys make of this situation Let us know your thoughts down in the comments below. Let's move on to another story. Now our next story comes from Pinky Binders, who says, am I the arsehole for locking up my valuables in my house? I, 21 female, and my boyfriend, 23 male, have been living together for 2 years. There has always been a bit of a money struggle as I used to make more than him, and have usually been picking up the slack in our household. However, I've started a new job, and I'm earning a lot less than before, so I've started to be more cautious about the amount I am spending. During our relationship, I would usually buy all of his toiletries and most household products. I told him I would not be doing this anymore as I need to cut down on my own spending, and he also works and is capable of buying things on his own. I thought we had agreed to this, but as time has gone on, I've noticed all of my expensive skincare and even my own deodorant being used up really quickly. I asked him multiple times to please not use my stuff and even bought him his own skincare so that he could have his own things. The thing that set me off was that I'd bought myself a $220 face wash that is only supposed to be used sparingly. I have horrible eczema that I have prescriptions for, and the products I buy are specifically for my eczema. I hadn't used it in a while, and when I picked up the bottle, it was empty. He laughed and said he would replace it, and then refused when he learned of the price. I took inventory of everything else I owned and found out he'd used up to $800 worth of product in around 3 months. I know he isn't naive because I tell him the price of everything I get and tell him not to use them. I ended up buying a safe that I put under the sink, and I put everything I had left inside and hid the key. So when I go to shower and get ready, I can use my own things and not worry about not affording to keep my skin in check. When he found out, he lost it and said that I was overreacting and that I don't trust him. This turned into a massive deal and my friends think I'm being harsh. I simply cannot afford to keep buying more skincare, and I've even been hospitalized this year due to a large flare-up. A flare-up I had after running out of products. He's taken it very seriously, and I don't know what else to do as I've already tried asking. Am I the arsehole? I mean, you're at the point now where you've had to buy a safe to lock stuff away from someone you should be able to trust, someone that should be your person, and you're having to buy a safe to keep things away from them so they don't use them, even though you've explained it sounds like time and time again. When he turned around to you and said that you was overreacting and that you don't trust him, I would have looked him straight in the face and said, you're absolutely fucking right, I don't trust you. As I always say in situations like this, if the trust is not there, what is the point? If you look into the future like this and you've already tried explaining time and time again not to use your products and he continues to use it, what's the future look like for you with this? And even worse, that you use these products to keep your skin in check for your eczema, like you said, that you've been hospitalized because of a flare-up, as you ran out of products that he's been using, and he must know all this, and instead of apologizing and saying, look, I'm really sorry, I won't do it again, or anything like that, he says you're overreacting, fuck that shit. But a commenter says, not the arsehole. This is a person who is not at the same level of maturity you are. He does not respect you, nor your things. Is this how you want to be doing things in a relationship? Hiding them? OP responded saying, I agree that I don't want to be hiding things, but I also think that skincare is not as bad as stealing money or sentimental items, so I don't think he's a bad boyfriend. I just wish he would listen to me. Jam replies saying, it is bad as he stole $800 from you. OP says, okay, yeah, you kinda have a point. Commenter says to OP, I mean, not the arsehole, but if you're at the buy a safe because I can't trust him to not use my stuff stage, just break up. Mocha Unicorn replies saying, came here to say the same. It's amazing how things can gradually go to shit in a relationship, and it happens so slow, people don't realize how fucked up things have become. And another commenter says, not the arsehole. Why do people stay with people like this? You are locking up your stuff in a safe so he doesn't steal it, and he's getting mad at you for it. Do you see how ridiculous that is? He absolutely has no respect for you. OP added a small edit that says, wow, I didn't think I would receive this many comments so quick. Thank you guys for validating me, as I was feeling really crap before I posted this. I definitely need to think over some things and have a chat with him. He's actually a really good guy apart from this, but it's worrying if this sort of behavior continues. I think I'm going to consider getting my own place for now." Then Opie updated the post and says, "Wow, I didn't think I was going to get so much of a response. Thank you guys for shattering my rose-tinted glasses. I had a talk with one of my friends who said they had no idea that he was taking more than $10 products, which explains why they all thought I was being harsh. Unfortunately, we share a friend group, so breaking up was looking really hard. Until I sat him down for a talk to try and convey why I don't trust him anymore and how important my skincare is. The conversation went on for some time, and I actually thought he may be turning a new leaf, until he told me that in our first year of being together as a couple, when I had a few flare-ups before finding some good products that worked for me, I had been taking my oral steroids that I was prescribed with, thinking that they would make him buff at the gym. The whole year I battled through with insecurities and unbearable pain because I wasn't able to overcome my flare-ups. Honestly, that was the thing that snapped me completely. I'm staying at my friend's house for a week and then letting him pack his things and figuring out a place to go. Thanks again to everyone who was so kind and helped me realize how stupid I was being." Commodore says, "Did he even notice a change in his sleeping habits? Tougher to fall asleep when taking the pills?" Opie says, "I assume he was taking them in the morning because that's when we would go to the gym, and around the time I would take them myself. I remember the doctor refusing to give me more after some time because of how dangerous it is to keep taking steroids that strong. I wish I wasn't so stupid back then because I felt crazy that I was misplacing my medication." So he was not only stealing her expensive products, he was also stealing her prescription medication. Gee bloody whiz. Opie's absolutely right to get out of that situation, and good for them for doing so, but what do you guys make of this situation? Let us know your thoughts down in the comments below. Let's have another story. Now, our next story comes from a throwaway account. There is a bunch of trigger warnings on it: emotional abuse, manipulation, gaslighting, fabricated trauma and abuse, emotional distress, and fabricated rape too. So if you do want to skip the story, please feel free to do so. Timestamps are always down in the description and along the timeline below. Thank you. This one is titled, "My 26 male girlfriend, 24 female, has opened up to me extensively about the abuse she suffered. The stories are starting to contradict each other, and I'm starting to suspect something. I'm currently in a 3-year relationship with a 24-year-old woman named Kathy. I'll spare you all the details about her personality, but I love her dearly. I fully intend to marry her when the time is right for the both of us. On our first date, Kathy warned me that she had PTSD from past trauma. Some of the things that she has told me have been so devastating that they made me physically ill. As we talked and ate, she told me that she lost her virginity to her stepfather, forcing himself on her when she was asleep. I, a grown-ass man, started crying in the middle of a restaurant. She assured me that she was in therapy and was working through her issues. As time has gone on, more and more details about her past have come up. I'm incredibly happy that she's willing to share all of this with me because I want to support her, but there have been so many contradictions that I'm confused. I don't even know how to bring them up. Here are several of the ones that makes the least sense. She told me that her biological father kicked her so hard when she was 7 that it broke her wrist in 2 places. Later, when we were taking a bike ride together, she said, "I've never broken a bone and don't intend to now." She told me that her mother used to put a belt, a stick, and a wrench on the table and tell her to choose. She said she picked the wrench because, fuck her, that's why. This is a scene from Good Will Hunting, told almost ad verbatim. She has no marks or scars from this. She told me that after her stepfather abused her for several months, she lived with her grandparents for the rest of high school. Later, she contradicted herself and said she was homeless and couch surfing for her last 2 years of high school. She told me that she dropped out of high school because she had to escape from a gang who was trying to make her work as a prostitute, but when I met her, she was a student at a reputable university. She never went to community college. I don't think it's even possible to get into a school like that with nothing more than a GED. She told me that to cope with her past trauma, she did almost every drug and was barely sober for more than a week for 2 years. Later, when we smoked weed together, she got super high and said she had never tripped harder. I don't think someone who has done LSD and mushrooms would say that after smoking pot. It doesn't make sense. I feel like a monster for asking. Was she even abused? I could understand one or two contradictions based on some inaccurate memories, but really, why the movie scene monologue? Why does everything point to her having a privileged upbringing with a brand new Range Rover she bought as a freshman and fancy college degree with no debt? I don't know how to bring this up or how to make sense of any of this. I can't bring the issue up because if she was abused, it would crush her to be doubted. That is absolutely a tough situation because, you know, if she has genuinely gone through some trauma, you don't want to play that down and tell her she's lying or anything like that. But at the same time, there's a lot of red flags there, right? And I would certainly wanting to be finding out more myself, because if it is all lies, that's pretty much the relationship is toast. Trust is gone. That's the end of it kind of thing. But also left with a question, why? Why would she be lying about this if she is? But Donut Minimum says, can you bring it up immediately when it happens? Like she says, I've never broken a bone, and you reply, wasn't your wrist broken when you were 7? OP replied saying, at the time I raised an eyebrow, but I thought she was blocking out her abuse or something. I didn't want to bring up old bad memories. Which again, absolutely get why OP would do that. If someone's talking about their abuse, you're not going to suddenly call them out on it because there could be a multitude of reasons why someone wouldn't want to talk about the abusive stuff like that. And that's just part of their history that they don't want to remember no more. You know, it is a minefield, but the real Van Morrison says compulsive liar by the sounds of it. Know a few in college with the exact same kind of track record. The girl in the dorm room next to me only got caught when a RA called her mum to say the girl needed more support given the recent death of her uncle, and mum said she never had an uncle. All of a sudden, about 20 stories started to unravel. OP says I have suspected that she is a compulsive liar, but aside from the outlandish and self-contradicting abuse stories, I can't find anything that she's ever lied to me about. Maybe she hides her other lies better. Would it make sense for a compulsive liar to only lie when it comes to one subject? Someone questions, aren't Range Rovers over 50k and no debt from a fancy college? Sounds like she's lying through her teeth. OP says, yeah, I looked at the price of her car when it was new. Well over 50k. Commodore says, sure sounds like she made it all up. Have you met her family? OP says, at least one detail I'm fairly sure that's true is she hates her family. I've never met them. So this is where OP comes in with their update and says, hi again everybody. A lot of people have expressed interest in an update to my situation, and since the situation is finally resolved, I figured I would take a minute to write out what happened. Admittedly, this actually ended last week, and spoiler alert, I spent the following several days moving out. I haven't had a chance to update. A whole lot of thoughts on the matter have been stewing, so I'm afraid this is going to be long. My last post can be found here. A short synopsis of the situation is that my girlfriend spent the entirety of our relationship opening up to me about how she suffered horrific abuse from just about everyone in her personal life. Yet her stories did not add up in the slightest. After reading through nearly every single response to my post, I came to two conclusions. One, my girlfriend was lying about, at the very least, the extent of her abuse. And two, she was only going to continue escalating these lies unless I put a stop to it. Many people told me both in comments and DMs that if I were to directly confront her about my suspicions, she would immediately gaslight me or deflect by calling me a monster for not believing her. I agreed this was likely, and so I went the route of stalking on her social media. I'm not proud of it, but I spent well over 10 hours stalking on her Facebook. I hadn't logged into Facebook since early in our relationship, but she seemed to be using it fairly often. Through my search, I discovered two things that she couldn't possibly explain away. She has another Facebook she uses for close friends and family. The Facebook page she has me on is reserved for friends from online games, giveaways, and so on. This all came to light when I started messaging her Facebook friends. I sent them a copy and pasted message. Hey, I'm Clara's boyfriend. I know this is out of the blue, but would you mind if I asked you a question? I wanted to get her a gift and was hoping for a bit of advice. The majority of the people didn't respond. Fair enough. I assume many of the messages got automatically filtered. Of those who did respond, the vast majority didn't really know Clara, or only knew her online, or didn't remember her at all. It was bizarre. Where were her college friends? Her not having high school friends would be right in line with what she told me before. But I know she has friends from college because she hangs out with them regularly. Or at least she did until we went into lockdown. Eventually I figured it out. She had another Facebook. It was a total stroke of luck that led me to it. She happened to have one single friend who was on both of her Facebook pages, and when stalking her friends' friends, I found my girlfriend's second page. On her real Facebook page, everything she told me completely unraveled. Dozens of high school friends, pictures from her high school days, ranging from class trips to dress room pictures of her trying on new clothes to her sweet 16. Pictures with her parents with whom she seemed very happy to be having a picture taken. Pictures of her standing in front of a very large, very non-ghetto suburban house. Then I found a picture of her standing in front of her brand new Range Rover. At this point, I'd already decided our relationship was over. There's no explaining that. If she had mental illness so severe that she had deluded herself into believing everything she told me, she needed therapy, not a boyfriend. If all those stories were just plain old lies, I wouldn't even know what to feel. Taking advice from the last post, I decided to ask about the Range Rover. I wanted to expose her and figured it was an innocent enough topic to bring up out of the blue. She was sitting on the couch reading a magazine, and so I walked up and asked her about her car. I said it was really nice and if she had inherited some money or something to be able to afford it. She gave me a long theatrical inhale and exhale. She then asked me to promise not to be shocked, but it was Pandora's box. Knowing that she was about to feed me another helping of bullshit, I told her I wanted to hear it anyway. She covered up the Range Rover purchase by telling me that when she was homeless, she was forced into prostitution by an abusive pimp. She said that with the money she saved by overcharging clients and hiding tips from him, she was eventually able to afford the car. Then she asked if I still loved her despite her past. So that was the end of that. I called her a liar on the spot. Aside from everything else, what really ticked me off about this lie is street prostitutes don't make nearly enough money in tips to be able to buy an expensive car and pay for a college education. Then I told her that I saw a real Facebook, all of those pictures. For the first time in our relationship, she didn't have an explanation. I started my move out the next morning, the least be damned, and finally was done with it in 3 days. She has frantically texted me saying she could explain and was ready to tell me the truth. Yeah, the truth. I'm almost tempted to ask her for it just so I can experience another wild tale. Maybe this time it being about her experience with witness protection on the run from the mafia or some other ludicrous story. Thanks again for all the advice and help, everyone. I feel like a total idiot for wasting 3 years of my life with her, but I have high hopes for my future. I'm going to take a break from dating for a while though. Right now I'm staying at a buddy's house who has been nothing short of amazing. She does not know where I am. Bloody hell. A commenter says to OP, she sounds like a narcissist to be honest. I know someone exactly like this. Also, you called her Kathy in your other post. OP says, yeah, I screwed up and thought she was Clara before. It's been 2 weeks. Her real name looks nothing like either. Eclectic Victual says, one thing I don't understand is you mentioned the Range Rover in your original post, but I don't see it referenced in any of your stories. It sounded in this post like seeing her with a Range Rover was a surprise, but it was just that she got it as a teenager. Also, if you contemplated messaging her parents, it's kind of surprising that somebody with all those stories wouldn't have her Facebook locked down. I would almost post something and tag her. The whole thing is so weird and sick. I'm sorry that you experienced it. And yes, if you've been on this ride for this long, I'd be curious to know what the truth really is. Opie says the Range Rover thing was because despite her roller coaster teens, she somehow was able to afford it, brand new, from her first year of college. That made no sense to me. She never really went into detail about it and I never asked until I decided to confront her about it. You're not an idiot for the 3 years, you're dealing with someone who's a skilled manipulator. And I think it was absolutely right to go no contact and not letting them know where you are. The I can explain everything texts were probably just her coming up with her next elaborate story, and how do you trust her again? Knowing the lies she's already told, you would just be constantly looking at her thinking, is this story true? Is the next one true? You just wouldn't be able to continue. And for 3 years of that, her behavior is absolutely not normal, and she probably likely is going through something herself to do this in the first place. As always, whatever trauma, mental health issues she might have, it doesn't excuse what she's put OP through, and OP is 100% right to stay away. You can't help someone who's not even going to acknowledge their own reality. But at the same time, I hope she does seek some help for herself in the future as well. Otherwise, some other person's going to get with her and face this same thing as well. But now, I'm going to turn this one to you guys. What do you guys make of this situation? 3 years and just finding out the person that you thought you knew so much has just been lying constantly. Whew. Let us know your thoughts, and just a huge thank you for being here today, getting involved in the stories, your love, your support, your time. It always means the absolute world to me. So thank you so much for being here today, and hopefully I will see you in the next one. Take care and much love.